Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Tuesday, the 11th of July, comes to you from London. And we start, as always, by looking at currencies, and first of all, the dollar index. And the dollar index just recovering above the cloud here slightly. No clear upside target that's activated. We do have an upside target of 2%, but we'd need to move above 96.60 really to activate that, and we're currently sitting at about 96.15. So we need a further almost 0.5%, 1% improvement in order to activate that upside target. Still downward pressure on the point and figure chart, and of course the medium term chart is bearish, but we might be just finding some support long term. The euro just reversing slightly, not quite through the cloud yet here on the chart, but we do have 3 upside targets. The euro is still looking pretty strong in terms of its transition, and the Japanese yen, the dollar is climbing against the yen significantly, and that is a long-term transition. So this may be the beginning of a long-term recovery in the dollar. We're just seeing here in the yen, we're starting to move, and that might start moving the dollar against other currencies. Sterling is bearish below the cloud short term. We've activated this downside target of 126.73. We can see here on the medium term chart how we struggled at this 130 mark, and we are still bearish in the long term. Against the euro, we're up slightly this morning, but bearish below the cloud. Against the Swiss franc, much the same story, and against the Australian dollar, more bearish. So seeing Aussie dollar strength just starting to creep in there. Taking a look at the S&P 500 index, we did recover yesterday somewhat, but we're still bearish below the cloud. The Nasdaq has been the index that we've been watching, of course. A stronger day yesterday from the Nasdaq, but we still are not out of the woods. We're still bearish below the cloud. It'd be interesting to see what happens today. If we look at the Dow Jones index, much the same picture as the S&P, just trying to get above the cloud here as well. And the Russell 2000 index, we're seeing here how we are just slightly bearish on the short-term chart as well. We have been in the doldrums for several weeks now on the Russell, so that's quite key. The S&P future is down very slightly this morning, and the Nasdaq E-mini is up very slightly, but neither of these are big enough changes to give us a heads up as to which way the markets will open in the US today. The FTSE 100 is still bearish short-term below the cloud, just struggling to recover, but finding some support on the medium-term chart. The FTSE 250, much the same picture, and the DAX 100, we're seeing here bearish below the cloud as well. Looking at the Nikkei, it's just turned bullish, weaker yen helping here, so we are now bullish on all 3 time frames there, and the Hang Seng is also turned bullish as well, so we're seeing an improvement there too. Shanghai Composite is bullish as well. Not as strong a performance overnight as we saw in Japan and the Hang Seng, and the Indian market is really rocketing at the moment. Australian market improving but still bearish below the cloud, and Brent Crude just trying to put in some form of recovery, but this is likely to be short-lived. We're still bearish below the cloud. WTI, much the same picture as well, and if we look at, we go straight to gold, we see here that we are still bearish here. Medium term gold has really fallen away here. Just taking out this low. Will we take out the March low? Here is interesting. We went slightly higher. Now we've gone slightly lower. So this is opening up the trading range somewhat. But we are still bullish on the long term chart, but it's starting to come under pressure. And silver is looking pretty bearish, having gone into free fall as well. Taking a look at Treasury yields, 10-year yields sitting at 2.4%, and so we're just coming through there as well. Apple has held the support of 142.50, not quite yet back above the cloud. We do have some upside targets now, both activated, so that is good. And Google starting to recover as well, still below the cloud. Amazon is through back above the cloud on the short-term chart, so we're starting to see some recovery there. And Facebook also looking stronger as well, as is Microsoft. So just not quite through the cloud yet, but looking better all the same. An important week for tech. If we can just continue the recovery, then Nasdaq will go considerably higher. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.